Okay, so this is the first step of developing your film, is you have to get it into a tank to develop. So for that, you are going to need a spool, a spine, the developing tank, and the funnel lid for the tank. You will also need a piece of practice film because you don't want to start with your good film. Alright, first thing you do is you take your practice film. On one end of the film you have the lead, which is the cut part that went to the camera. On the other end you have the straight edge that was attached to the spool, and this straight edge is what you're going to work with. So you take the spool and you look at the spool. There are two little ridges that stick out. These two. On the opposite side there are also two ridges, but they don't stick out. This is important because you're going to have to do this by feel in a minute. So once you have these, you take the film, you slide them just under those two spots. And be careful not to squeeze this together too much, or the film has a hard time to fit in. But just slide it past. There's two little metal balls on the other side. You want to get it past the two little balls. And once they're past those balls, then you can just spin the spool, and it works like a ratchet and it winds the entire film on. Once the film is on the spool, you take a spine, really important, you take the spine, push it all the way through. If you only have it halfway in and it's sticking out a little bit, the chemistry won't reach your film when you put it into the tank. So you want to make sure that this is all the way in so that the chemistry will cover all of your film once you have it in the tank. So once the spool is all the way in, the flat part of the spine fits in the bottom of the tank. There's a flat part on the bottom of the tank. You can just make that out maybe, and you just pop that in, sits in there, and then the funnel goes into the spine as well. And once that turns and locks with a click, then you know it's tight, it can't fall out, and you can put water in and developer in and out without it falling out or spilling or letting light in. It's really important you include that spine. If you forget that spine, you've built a giant pinhole camera and you've exposed your film. So once it's all in here, the only catch is, obviously you can't do this out here like I just did the demo. You actually have to do it inside one of the developing bags. And the developing bags are these black bags. They have elastics on the one end where your hands go into, and on the other end they have a double zipper that you put all the pieces into. So you put all the things inside here, you zip it shut, put your hands in, and develop it. You can't do this in the darkroom because the film is a lot more sensitive than photo paper, so you'd have to turn the lights off in the darkroom, and that won't work. The last challenge is, how do you get the film out of this cartridge and into the tank? So obviously, again, you have to do it inside the bag, but what has to happen is the little cap that's on here has to come off. So if you squeeze the canister together a little bit and wiggle it off, it'll pop off. Then you turn it by the nose and just turn it to follow the spiral of the film, and you can pull it out and it comes out quite nicely. And again, you don't want to put this end into the spool because it's likely to jam, but if you go to the far end of the film where it's taped to the spine, you could just pull that off. Then you have a nice straight edge. If you take the tape off, that'll go right into the spool and you can develop from there. Good luck.